Chapter 1, Section 5, and this is angle pairs. Alright, first definition, adjacent angles. We're going to use this for angles. The angle symbol with apostrophe S. Adjacent angles, next to each other, next to, and share a side. Next to, and share a side. So an example would be one and two. Angles 1 and 2 are adjacent. What side do they share? They share side AB. Very good. Are angles 1 and 2 in this diagram adjacent? Yes. Why? Because they're next to each other and because they share a side. Okay? Next to each other and share a side. Are angles 1 and 3 adjacent? No. Why not? They don't share a side and they're not next to each other. Okay? Angle 2 is in between them. So since angle 2 is in between them, they're not adjacent. Vertical angles. They're opposite of each other and congruent. Vertical angles are opposite and congruent. An example of vertical angles. Angle 2 and angle 4 are vertical angles. Angle 1 and angle 3 are vertical angles. Who can name an adjacent pair of angles in that picture? Yes. 1 and 2 are adjacent. Good. 1 and 4 are adjacent. 4 and 3 are adjacent. Be sure that you can tell the difference between vertical angles and adjacent angles. Here's something you have to be careful of. You don't have to draw this if you don't want to. This picture gets people all the time. 3, angle 4, and angle 5. Alright, vertical. Give me a pair of vertical angles here. Yes. Good. 1 and 4. Give me another pair of vertical angles. Yes. Sorry, but no. The only pair of vertical angles in that picture are 1 and 4. Now, here's why. If this line was extended through there, then this and 2 would be vertical angles, okay? 3 and here would be vertical angles. But without that line being extended, the only pair of vertical angles in that diagram are 1 and 4. Everybody see that? There's a bunch of pairs of adjacent angles, but there's only one pair of vertical angles, and that's 1 and 4. Complementary and supplementary. Complementary. Complementary angles. They sum 90 degrees. Supplementary. Those sum 180 degrees. If you have a hard time remembering the difference, if you have a hard time remembering that complementary sum 90 and supplementary sum 180, then take complementary, how you write it, and just turn the C into a 9. And what does that show you? It makes a 90. And those angles have to add up to 90. The other ones add up to 180. And if you want, you can take the S and you can turn it into an 8 and the U and make it 180. Okay? Complementary angles add up to 90. Supplementary angles add up to 180. This little symbol means 90 degrees. That little red symbol in an angle, it means the angle equals 90 degrees. So if you were to see this picture, are angles 1 and 2 supplementary? Do angles 1 and 2 add up to 180? They do, don't they? There's nothing on here that says they do. What in this picture says that they add up to 180? Isn't this a straight line? Or a straight angle that we talked about yesterday? What's the measure of a straight angle? 180. So if this measures 180, then these two together have to measure 180, and they're supplementary. Okay? Are angles 1 and 2 complementary? Yes. Why are they complementary? The little red box means that that big angle, this whole angle right here, is 90 degrees. Which means angles 1 and 2 together add up to 90 degrees, which makes them complementary. Page 38. Linear pair. Linear, not linear par, linear pair. What does pair mean? 2. What does linear mean? Line. So wouldn't this be two angles that make a line? Okay? Two angles that form a line. Okay? Two angles that form a line. An example would be, here's a line. Now you've got two angles. Angle 1, angle 2. Here's the line. There's two angles, 1 and 2. They're a linear pair. What do angles 1 and 2 have to add up to here? 180, very good. So if this is 3x and this is x, how could you find out what x equals? Very good. 3x plus x has to equal 180 because they're a linear pair. If you combine like terms, 4x equals 180. You divide by 4, x is going to equal 45. In this bottom picture, if this angle is 2x plus 3, and this one is 4x plus 7, how could you solve for x here? 2x, good. 2x plus 3 plus 4x plus 7 has to equal 180. Combine like terms. 6x plus 10 equals 180. Subtract and divide. Okay? Let's finish that. While we're here and all, subtract 10 from each side. So 6x equals 170. Divide each side by 6. You got that yellow thing on your desk? 170 divided by 6 equals... Repeating, rounded to the nearest tenth. To the nearest tenth would be 28.3. Very good. Angle bisector. That's a ray. That divides an angle in half. Let's say it's a ray that divides an angle into two congruent angles. Angle bisector. If you're told that ray DB is an angle bisector. Angle bisector. Then you can say that angle ADB is congruent to angle BDC. If DB splits the big one in half, then that little one is equal to that little one. If this angle is 2x plus 10 and this angle is 40, how could you solve for x now? Just a little different setup, isn't it? Yes. Very good. 2x plus 10 equals 40. The angles are congruent to each other. DB was an angle bisector. It split ADC in half. So you know that that angle is congruent to that angle, which means this 2x plus 10 is equal to 40. Subtract 10. 2x equals 30. Divide by 2. And x equals 15. Any questions on what we talked about? All right, next thing you're going to do, I'm going to give you today's assignment. But if you didn't finish yesterday's assignment, finish page 32, 1 through 16 first, and then start page, you got page 40 today. You're doing 5 through 21. You got plenty of time before you go to lunch. Finish yesterday's assignment completely. Then start page 45 through 21. Make sure you check the odds in the back of the book as you're doing them. Make sure you check for homework on Edline. If you need to see the notes again, go to the notes folder and watch the notes from today's assignment.